Have you ever noticed people treating you differently as you've grown older? Maybe some friends have quietly drifted away, family members seem less tolerant, or strangers aren't as warm as they once were. It's painful to feel like you're being overlooked, especially when you know you still have so much to contribute. But what if part of the problem isn't just them, but also subtle habits you may have picked up without realizing? In this video, we'll explore 6 common behaviors that can unintentionally cause others to pull away after age 70. These patterns, often unnoticed, can quietly erode connection, create tension, and leave you feeling isolated. But the good news? Once you're aware of them, you can shift course, strengthen your relationships, and continue to be someone others truly enjoy spending time with. Let's get started. Number 1, becoming overly negative. By the time we reach our 70s, life has handed us our share of struggles, health challenges, financial ups and downs, disappointments, and societal shifts. It's all valid, but when every conversation turns into a series of complaints, people naturally begin to distance themselves. Constant negativity doesn't just wear on you, it wears on everyone around you. Think about it. Would you want to spend time with someone who always talks about what's wrong? Neither does anyone else. It's not about pretending everything's fine, but about balance. Mixing your concerns with stories, compliments, or even small moments of humor or curiosity can make you a joy to be around again. Instead of starting conversations with frustrations, try pausing and asking yourself, is this the energy I want to bring? A little shift in tone can change everything. People often withdraw not because they don't care, but because they feel emotionally drained. By becoming more aware of how you speak, you can ensure that your presence leaves others feeling better, not burdened. Number 2, offering advice. No one asked for. With age comes wisdom. You've lived through countless experiences, witnessed changing times, and learned from your own successes and missteps. Naturally, you want to help others avoid the same mistakes. But here's the tricky part. If your advice isn't invited, it can come off more like judgment than support. This is especially common with younger family members. You might see your adult children or grandchildren making choices you disagree with, whether it's how they spend money, raise their kids, or manage their lives, and you feel the urge to step in. But even with the best intentions, unsolicited advice can sound critical, not caring, and it's not just limited to family. In friendships, saying things like, "You should eat better," "Stop wasting money," or "You need to get out more," may feel helpful from your perspective. But to them, it can feel like they're being scolded, not supported. Nobody enjoys feeling lectured, even when the advice is solid. Over time, if every conversation feels like a critique, people start avoiding them altogether. So what can you do differently? The key is simple. Wait to be invited into the conversation. If someone truly wants your perspective, they'll ask for it. If they don't, it's often best to let them find their own path. That doesn't mean you can never share your thoughts. It just means you should do it with respect for their autonomy. Here's a better approach. Ask before you offer. Instead of saying, "You really shouldn't be eating that," try asking, "Would you like to hear a few tips I've learned about healthier eating?" If they say yes, great, share away. If not, let it go. It's a small shift, but it can completely change how people respond to you. The takeaway? Most people aren't avoiding advice because they don't care. They just don't want to feel judged. When you offer insight in a respectful, open way, you become someone they turn to, not someone they tune out. Number 3, resisting change instead of embracing it. Change is constant. It always has been and always will be. But one of the most common missteps as we get older is resisting that change instead of adjusting to it. And it's understandable. You've lived through decades of traditions, values, and routines that now seem to be fading. But refusing to accept the way the world is evolving can make conversations feel more like debates and less like enjoyable exchanges. This can show up in subtle ways. Maybe every time a younger person shares something they love, you counter with, "Things were better back in the day." Or maybe you brush off new technology, seeing it as unnecessary, even though it's how most people connect now. Or perhaps shifting social norms make you feel disconnected from younger generations, leaving you frustrated. But here's the reality. The world is moving forward whether we like it or not. And if every interaction turns into a reminder of how much better things used to be, people may begin to pull back, not because they don't care, but because the constant comparisons make them feel unheard or dismissed. Let's take technology, for example. Learning new apps, devices, or communication styles can be overwhelming. But when you choose not to adapt, it limits how others can include you. Your grandkids might prefer texting over phone calls. Your friends may coordinate plans online instead of calling. When you resist these new tools, it's not that people don't want you around, they just don't know how to make it work with you. So what can you do instead? Stay curious. You don't have to embrace every trend or adopt every new habit, but showing a willingness to understand and learn makes you far more approachable. Instead of saying, "That's stupid, I don't get it," try saying, That's interesting. Can you show me how that works?" That openness makes people feel respected, and they'll want to share more with you. Here's the bottom line. People aren't expecting you to love every new thing, but they deeply appreciate it when you keep an open mind. Staying curious keeps your brain active, your relationships meaningful, and your connection to the world vibrant. Number 4, expecting too much without giving in return. One of the fastest ways to damage relationships, whether with family, friends, or neighbors, is by constantly taking without giving anything back. Sadly, this often becomes more common with age. You might not even notice it's happening, but when you start expecting others to always meet your needs without thinking about theirs, it can slowly drive them away. This can show up in different forms. Maybe you assume your children or grandkids should always be the ones to call or visit. Maybe you expect help with errands or emotional support, yet rarely show appreciation. Or perhaps you believe younger family members should always be available because that's what family is for. Here's the issue. Most people don't mind helping. In fact, many are happy to step up when they feel appreciated. But when it starts to feel one-sided, like their effort is expected or taken for granted, resentment builds. And when that resentment grows, distance follows. Often we think we're being abandoned, when in reality we unknowingly created that distance with unrealistic expectations. That doesn't mean you should stop asking for help, not at all. But even as you get older, you still have something valuable to offer. Kindness, gratitude, attention. Small acts can go a long way. A warm thank you, checking in on someone else's well-being, or remembering a birthday. These simple gestures show others that they matter too. So how do you shift things? Be honest with yourself. If you notice you've been mostly receiving, find ways to give back. It doesn't need to be big. A sincere compliment, a thoughtful message, or simply being a good listener can help others feel seen and appreciated. The takeaway: people are more than willing to show up for you when they feel valued, not obligated. A little gratitude and effort to give back keeps relationships healthy, balanced, and meaningful. Number 5, living too much in the past. There's something deeply comforting about memories. They remind us of loved ones, meaningful moments, and the lessons life has taught us. But one of the most common traps people fall into as they age is getting stuck in the past, to the point that it starts disconnecting them from others. It happens when nearly every conversation circles back to the good old days, or when you retell the same stories over and over. It's not that your memories aren't valuable, they are. It's natural to want to share the experiences that shaped you. But when every interaction focuses on what was, people may begin to feel like they can't truly connect with who you are now. Younger people especially may feel shut out. If every time they talk about their lives, they're met with "back in my day" or "you kids have it easy," they may feel like their experiences don't measure up, or that they're not being heard. Even friends your own age can start to tune out if conversations become too repetitive or predictable. So what's the alternative? Balance. Share your memories, but also stay curious about the present. Ask people how they're doing, what they're working on, what's new in their lives. And if you catch yourself telling a familiar story again, pause and ask, is this the right time? Is this still meaningful to them? Even more importantly, stay open to new experiences. Life isn't over just because you're older. You can still make memories worth talking about. Try something different, engage with new people, and find joy in the now, not just the then. Bottom line, cherish the past, but don't let it become your only lens. People want to connect with who you are today, not just who you were decades ago. Staying present and interested keeps your relationships vibrant and your conversations alive. Number 6, overstepping boundaries in personal space. As we grow older, the dynamics of our relationships naturally change. But one thing that never changes, regardless of age, is that people still need their boundaries and personal space to be respected. Unfortunately, a common mistake in later years is assuming that your age or life experience gives you the right to insert yourself into others' lives without limits. This might show up in ways that seem small, but can have a big impact. Maybe you expect your family to answer every call immediately, and if they don't, you feel hurt or ignored. Maybe you stop by someone's house unannounced, assuming they'll be happy to see you, without thinking they might have other things going on. Or perhaps you ask deeply personal questions about someone's relationships, money, or life choices, without realizing they're not obligated to share everything with you. Even if people don't say anything outright, they feel it when their boundaries are crossed. And instead of confronting it, they might simply start keeping their distance. They call less, visit less, and share less. From the outside, it can look like they're pulling away, but in reality, they're trying to protect their own sense of space and autonomy. There's also the matter of emotional boundaries. If you regularly vent your frustrations, loneliness, or grief to the same person, without checking in on how they're doing, it can be draining for them. Everyone carries their own emotional weight, and while expressing your feelings is important, so is being aware of how it affects others. So, what's the better approach? Practice awareness. If someone seems distant or hesitant, ask yourself, am I giving them enough space? Am I respecting their time, energy, and privacy? And if someone sets a clear boundary, whether it's about conversations, visits, or what they choose to share, honor it. Don't take it personally. Here's the truth. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect. When people feel their boundaries are valued, they're more likely to stay emotionally close, open up, and genuinely enjoy your company. Getting older doesn't mean you have to lose your connection with the people you care about. But sometimes, without realizing it, certain habits can create emotional distance. The good news? You can change that, starting with awareness. We've talked about 6 habits that can push others away. Constant negativity, giving advice that wasn't asked for, refusing to adapt to change, expecting too much without giving back, living too much in the past, ignoring personal boundaries. These behaviors often don't come from a bad place. They come from love, concern, or habit. But when they go unchecked, they can build resentment and weaken relationships over time. The moment you notice these patterns, you gain the power to shift them. Small changes, like showing more appreciation, being open to others' perspectives, or simply listening more, can rebuild closeness and trust. Here's the big takeaway. People are drawn to those who make them feel respected, appreciated, and heard. That doesn't change with age. You can still be someone others feel good being around, someone who inspires connection, not distance. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 6 points spoke to you the most? Have you had moments where someone pulled away, and now it makes more sense why? Leave a comment below and share one insight you're taking with you today and how you plan to apply it. Your thoughts might resonate with someone else going through the same thing. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support keeps us going and helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. See you in the next video.